By now, most of you are in anticipation of the U.S.-Iran war, and I want to go farther than my documentary of the destruction of New York and the U.S. If this is the official war of Daniel 8, we have a lot to look forward to and a lot to keep our eyes on. Or this is a false alarm. I don't know either way. I am mostly convinced this is the real deal. But with this, I want to add more information. I wish I could finish my Image of the Beast documentary, but these issues are more pressing right now because the March 3rd eclipse is almost here. I'm not saying anything happens on that day. It's a sign, you bet, which we're going to look deeper into that, the eclipse, today. I need you to see this. Wish I should have done that in my documentary, but it's almost 2 hours as it was. But we're going to pick it back up with these last days right here. And people's going to argue, but I want you to hear this. Ezekiel chapter 32, when he's talking about Pharaoh in Egypt. And I don't see anywhere, when you hear the language, that this is Egypt over there. What are they? They're a military power of some sort. They have tanks and men, but they're not fitting this description. So as I said in my documentary, the March 3rd, early morning hours of March the 3rd total lunar eclipse is on the first day of the 12th month. That is a huge thing. Very huge, and based upon what I'm about to read to you, I think it'll get, your eyes are just like poof, and see it, what I'm about to show you. And as I showed, it goes straight smack up to the center of the Pacific Ocean, this eclipse, heading northward. That means from Australia up through Russia on the east side sees it, and the other side, the Americas, on the west side. That's basically a way of saying this eclipse is covering east and west and going right through the center of each, which means this eclipse is pointing at the entire world. And I want you to hear what I'm going to bring forth today. And then contemplate it and see if you can see what I see. And I know you do. But maybe that'll pop something in your head that might, you haven't heard before. Maybe not. But either way, I want to show you something. And as I said, the eclipse is on the first day of the 12th month. This cannot be coincidence. Ezekiel chapter 32, this is the last day's prophecy. He seems to allude to Egypt's being destroyed, but Egypt was destroyed back in the Exodus story. They were already gone. This is not Egypt of the last days. I should have looked it up in Isaiah. Maybe I'll put it in. I'll try to. Where he says, "Woe unto thee that trust in the shadow of Egypt." And that's America, the Babylon, and leads the rest of the countries it's ruling over to do the same exact thing. The slave bondage mentality, the billions of laws. They will not let us go free. Which, if this Iran war is it, the strength of Pharaoh, America, the Babylon, and its government is about to get theirs.
Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 32 and verse 1. And this is the only time I can find in Scripture where it's talking about the sun and the moon in reference to the first day of the 12th month. In my documentary, if you haven't seen it, I went over eclipses. As in Book of Joel, the sun will be darkened on April 8th, and the moon into blood, which has to be this March 3rd, before the great and the terrible day of the Elohim begins, cometh. Notice what it says here. 32 verse 1. And it came to pass in the 12th year, in the 12th month, in the first day of the month, that the word of the Elohim came unto me, saying, isn't that something? In the first of the month. What else might have happened on the first of the month? Well, you got people that's going to argue. He doesn't say for sure, but I'm telling you, within a day or two, it has to be that Moses, at 120 years old, died around that time. He doesn't say for sure, but if I was a betting man, my money is on first day of the 12th month for his prophetical purposes. Because then they had to mourn for 30 days, which drags you right to the first month of the year. Then they had to have 3 days of crossing, then they had to send in the spies, and those spies, they had to hide out, what was it, 3 days? Then they took Passover on the first day, the 14th day of the first month. So either way, it's extremely close. The first day of the 12th month is March 3rd this year. If you're going by the full moon calendar, if you do the crescent moon, you ain't going nowhere. I've been saying it over and over. You're not going anywhere. You can't. Prophecy is not going to have this impact. And it's not going to happen according to the crescent moon thinking. But now let's go to verse 2 and hear what this message was Ezekiel's getting. Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Now this is not Egypt itself. Now listen, I want you to hear this. And we'll find out this is not Egypt over there right now. And say unto him, you are like a young lion of the nations. All right, stop right there.
Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
Is Egypt a young lion of the nations? Right from the get-go? No, they've been around since forever. He says here, this particular Pharaoh and its system is a young lion of the nations. It says in the Bible that Babylon is the hindermost of the nations. So when it says the hindermost of the nations, it's the youngest of the world powers. And that has to be America, the Babylon. That doesn't fit the role of Egypt. So we're arguing, in a way, in a good way, to find out what the truth is. But let's continue. You are like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a whale in the seas. Ezekiel, what are you talking about? Whale in the seas. Well, your first thought's going to be a whale is the biggest fish in the sea that I know of. It's the biggest one. Is Egypt the biggest fish in the sea? This is about waters. This is about naval power, in which Trump has got everybody over there right now. Egypt is not this great naval power. I guarantee they have boats, I would say, but land forces would be their number one, avenue of military conflict. The U.S. is the whale of the seas. Even if maybe China outnumbers how many ships we have, we are the dominant. We dominate with it more than anybody on the earth. The same hindermost of the nations, though, that is also the king of the seas, or trying to be. That fits the U.S. perfectly, especially since in the seas, all of our ships are going over there right now. Wow. And you came forth with your rivers and troublest the waters with your feet, and thou foulest the rivers. Thus saith Elohim Yahweh, I will spread out my net over you with the company of many people, and they shall bring you up in my net. What net? Jeremiah chapter 51, I'll send winnowers, the terrorist sleeper cells, and all those who are hiding out across the U.S. So whatever damage we're going to do to Iran, and they're going to get it, at the same time, they're going to get us back harshly. I went over a lot of that in my New York City documentary. It's going to be horrendous. It's going to be a real war. Except it's going to be here. It's not going to be any more armchair, watching. It's going to be right in our front backyard. Really bad, too. Which means our time of escape must be near. I won't go over this whole chapter. I don't need to. I just want to go over the certain parts here. Because it's a long chapter. But this is showing a destruction of somebody. And I'll skip on, because it says in verse 11 here, thus saith the Elohim, the sword of the king of Babylon should come upon you. Yeah, it'd be returned right upon its own head. Right here, it's going to be war. Back up to 7 though. Because remember, the 12th month, the first day, in verse 7, when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. Once again, another prophet speaking of the sun and the moon every time. You saw in my documentary, Isaiah 30 says, rivers and streams of waters in the day of the great slaughter when the towers fall. And the very next verse, as I showed, moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. Right, one verse after the other. That tells me that this is an eclipse here. Possibly March 3rd, 2026. It's possible. Very possible indeed. And that being the case, we don't have much longer to wait. I'm not saying anything happens on that day. But these are signs. But why would Isaiah relate that in chapter 30? Talking about when the towers fall, well, I would say it'd have to be skyscrapers, and the one that's pointing at first is New York City and then other cities. And then he's talking about it's related to the sun and the moon once again. And healing up the breach of his people, starting with this calendar. And right here we're seeing the same thing. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over you, and set darkness upon thy land, saith the Elohim Yah. So right here on the first day of the 12th month, a specific day, he's paralleling the sun and the moon and destruction to somebody that's the hindermost of the nations, and somebody who's the whale of the seas, the major pushing everybody around naval power, the U.S. Right here. And where we're heading. Very exciting. Let's go to verse 10, because I want you, Ezekiel and all these prophets are all talking about the same last days. And they're parallel, they're speaking very similar. Yes, I will make many people amazed at you, and their king shall be horribly afraid for you, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life, in the day they fall. Where else do we see that? Jeremiah says the voice of those that flee and escape out of Babylon. Revelation says they're wailing, for they see the smoke of her torment. Jeremiah and elsewhere says they'll hiss at all of our plagues. Well, where are they going to get the time to hiss and look upon the falling of America over and over and over? If they were already being blown up already, they don't have time to hiss at our plagues. They got their own to hiss at. But they're looking up on what's going on over here, which is why I seem to think that the fall of Babylon, America, is early in the goings, not way at the end of tribulation, like I grew up believing. I'm willing to accept error because I have no choice, but that the wording is telling me that this is earlier in the goings. Because it says that one day cometh death, famine, and mourning. If we was already near the end of tribulation, there would have already been death, famine, and mourning. But he says it starts from one day. The wording tells me it's earlier. And here these people are looking upon America. This is the lamentation, verse 16. This is the lamentation wherewith they shall lament her. The daughters of the nations shall lament her. They shall lament for her, even for Egypt. And this is not Egypt over there, though. And for all her multitude, saith Yahweh. Just like Revelation, it says spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. They're lamenting. If they was already been blown up by nuclear war, they wouldn't be lamenting for us. They would already be lamenting for themselves. This is the wording of Jeremiah. This is the wording of Revelation chapter 18. Talking about the same last days here. The fall of America to Babylon. When I shall make the land of Egypt desolate, and the country shall be destitute of that whereof it was full. When I shall smite all them that dwell therein, then they shall know that I am the Elohim. To start with, it's going to be desolate. Every time he talks about Babylon being destroyed in the end, it's desolate. If this was Egypt over there, that doesn't make no sense, because that's next door to Jerusalem. The king's not going to come back, and we're going to be in Jerusalem, and then Egypt right next door is never going to be inhabited again. That doesn't make no sense. He's talking about a spiritual Egypt, someone that fits the role of Egypt, not the country Egypt. But once again, America will be without an inhabitant by the time all of this has went forth. Well, I want to continue because I have quite a bit to go over. I don't want to go over this whole chapter, because there's so much. Let's skip down and let's see the language once again from Revelation. Verse 25. They have set her a bed in the midst of the slain with all her multitude. Her graves are round about him. All of them uncircumcised, slain by the sword, though their terror was caused in the land of the living. Yet they have borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. He is put in the midst of them that be slain. They have set a bed. In Revelation he says, those who will not come out of Jezebel and her ways, and out of Babylon, I will cast them into a bed with her into great tribulation. I will kill her children with death. The king is basically repeating Ezekiel, worded a little differently, but it's the same thing and the same end result. And this is proof that it is so. America's going to be desolate. Skip down to verse 29 before we get into Daniel 8. I want to show. Verse 29. Wait, so I skipped something here. Let me skip back. I know I missed something. I did. Whoops. As I showed in my documentary, every time you turn around on these last days, that's in Daniel 8, U.S. versus Iran overall. Every time, Jeremiah chapters 49 and 50, you're seeing the same three characters every time show up. It's going to be America the Babylon, it's going to be counterfeit Israel over there, and it's going to be Elam, which Elam is now Iran. Henceforth, all of their proxies, the Houthis, the Hamas, Hezbollah, whoever, whatever else they got out there. But within this destruction, who does he mention in verse 24? There is Elam and all her multitude round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which are going down uncircumcised into the nether parts of the world, which caused their terror in the land of the living. Talk about the terror of sleeper cells and all the destruction, taking out the infrastructure. Yet they have borne their shame with them that go down to the pit. As Jeremiah says, the slain of the earth shall fall within Babylon. He isn't talking about just Americans, though. Because when these terrorist sleeper cells and whoever comes across the border, there is enough Americans to shoot back, and a lot of them's going to die as well. It's a back and forth. It's going to be chaos and misery in every which direction we can possibly think of. So that's basically what he's saying. They're going to die here too, but they're going to get the end result he has declared will happen till America is finally emptied out. So that's U.S. and Iran in the picture. Verse 29, there is Edom, her kings and all her princes, with which their might of counterfeit Israel are laid by them that were slain by the sword. They also, and they say, well, also I'm added that, shall lie with the uncircumcised and with them that go down to the pit. There's a lot of people going to the pit. Counterfeit Israel is going to be involved. All three characters once again showing up. Because it's the same end day war. It's the same scenario in which the United States-Iran war, if this is the Daniel 8 power play, and not a false alarm, this is it. This is when it happens. And it will happen. At some point it has to. I'm praying it is. Let's get out of here. Because if that's the case, April 15th is going to be the most important Passover, in my estimation, that we can partake of. So get your wine and learn how to make the unleavened cakes. You know, get your wine, get ready for communion, and I'll try to put it down in the description box, the link to the Passover articles. You need to read it, especially the first part. But get your wine up. I mean, I can't do anything about it. I can't get any because I don't even have an ID expired. That don't work, so I can't do it. But you can, and get ready for this Passover to come. It's on April 15th, and it has to be by sunrise days, full moon months, sunset days. But a full moon month is going to put you on April 14th, and you're a day off. It's just not going to work. I mean, it's still important. You want to partake of it. But on that day is the day we don't do away with. That's how important I think this is. If this is the real war. And this eclipse has got to be the sign. April 8th was the first of two. This has to be it. I thought March 14th last year was it. It isn't. But then, and I'm trying to go over several things here. For 2 years, I have failed miserably. It wasn't my fault. I know what it says. I just didn't know which year. And maybe it's not even this year. It's in this chapter somewhere. Oh, I don't know if I can find it so quickly. Or maybe I cannot find it. Let me take a look. Well, maybe I don't need to, because I'll have to read all of this. But there are 2 seasons. Talks about summer season, winter season. Not 4, 2. Summer is the 6 warm months, and winter is the the fall and winter section. So here's where I was wrong for 2 years. I wasn't wrong on purpose. I'd even said over and over, I said this is what's supposed to happen, but didn't know if it was the year or not. So I wanted to be right. Maybe this is the year. In Amos chapter 8, verse 1, he starts with, Amos, what do you see? I see a basket of summer fruit. Amos, the end has come upon my people of Israel. I will pass again by them no more. That's the language of the day of great slaughter. That's the day of when it all starts. That fits right in line with Ezekiel 32. But what's summer fruit? Well, it's going to be on April 2nd that the summer officially begins. And the king says, when you see the branches tender, you know thereof the summer is nigh. Learn a parable of the fig tree. Why does he mention figs there and Revelation 6 as a tree that casts her untimely figs from the sixth seal that's opened? Those untimely figs are the leftover winter figs that are just hanging there. You just shake it and they fall off. That's seeming to show that during the time, if we are to take it this way, and that's what he intended it to be, that at the time that we're transitioning from winter to the summer phase. So the last day of the Hebrew year is still winter, and that next morning at sunrise is the summer phase as the figs fall off, the rest of it, as you see summer nigh. That's what the king says as well. Is that a possibility? Are we this close? This being the case, he says, a basket of summer fruit. The end has come upon my people of Israel. Doesn't mean we have till April before things start. Just means in that phase it's over. And he says, pray your flight.
For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my Redeemer is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness.
He said, pray your flight is not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Pray that your flight is not in the winter on the Sabbath day. Maybe Abraham, Babylon, he's right. I don't know, but I'm leaning towards that. Doesn't mean the tribulation is going to start right away. There's too much that has to happen. We got to have a second Exodus. We got to get out of here. Satan has not been cast out because Michael hasn't stood up to cast him out with a war in heaven yet. Michael can't stand up yet because we haven't overcome everything from Revelation 12:10 yet. And that can't happen till the birthing forth starts, but the birthing forth can't start till the travailing starts, but the travailing, it can't start until all breaks loose. That's why, right there, until it all breaks loose, all this sequence of events won't start. We're waiting for what they would call it, a flashbulb event. But is this summer fruit prophecy going to start? Well, there's a famine of preaching. Well, what if the electric grid's taken out? That'll definitely put a cork in that one, wouldn't it? Revelation 18, the same chapter of America is being destroyed. He says, the light of a candle shall be seen no more at all you. The sound of a millstone, that's factories. Factories, electric, gone. Probably the internet. So what are we going to do in that day when it all goes down? We're all asking these questions. Where to go? When? How? I mean, there's so many prophecies I would like to go over. And you've read them. You've read all of them, I would think, right? But we're going to be taking plunder. Spoil those that spoiled you. Rob those who robbed you. Doesn't mean we're sinning in doing it. Elsewhere he says I probably put that in my documentary. Went over that verse, I think. He says, you shall plunder the houses. So when all starts to collapse, I can see this scenario, because that's more than likely what's going to happen. We'll see. That the looters, they're going to take out the Walmarts and Targets, the gas stations, the CVS pharmacies. The looters are going to get the prime amount of stuff, and they're going to spoil. But then soon, most of them is going to be wiped out and killed. Amos chapter 8, the same one, of basket of summer fruit. He says there'll be many dead bodies in every place, and they should be cast forth with silence, which means to burn bodies. I'm sorry, I know this is grotesque. I'm just telling you what this says. You can hate me, I mean, yeah, okay, Kenneth, you're a psycho. Okay, I'm a psycho, I get it. People do think I'm crazy, I get it. I'm more passionate about this. But we think about this for a moment. I think it's Amos chapter 5, he's going over the same type of thing. It says, it'll be as if you flee from a lion and you met a bear. Well, when you ran from a bear, you went into a house and you leaned up against the wall and the serpent bit you. That's people running for it, with everyone going crazy and chaos and everyone just wiping each other out. Civil war, Russia, China over here. Who knows what all is going to happen? It's going to be Madhouse City. No safe place. Except where we listen to him. So he says you hide yourself but for a short time. And I think I'm getting more what that means now that we're getting right up on it. Is there's the initial indignation that you got to stay out of the loop. And let everyone go crazy. And I'm sorry, but they're going to be killing each other. There's going to be Iranians. And who knows what else is going to happen. It's going to be bad until America has nobody left. But while we're here in the Babylon, we're going to spoil those that spoil us. First, the looters and rioters will get the cream of it till they're taken out, most of all. Then from place to place, going to be empty houses. He says, plunder their houses. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what the scriptures say. Don't get mad at me. I'm only telling you the way I'm seeing it so far. We don't do nothing until Yahweh says. But there's going to be empty places the more further it goes along. So if I'm going along and I see a truck over there and there's keys and gas in it, it's mine. I'm taking it. And I'm going to get me a trailer and go from place to place, and I'm taking it. There ain't going to be none of this, well, that family, it goes to the family in the next county. There ain't going to be no U.S. law no more. They're going to get it too. I'm sorry, I know this is grotesque, but it's going to be plunder as it was when Israel plundered Egypt. Or when they conquered Moses and Joshua, they conquered someone, they took the plunder. Elsewhere, I don't think it's in this chapter. But I'm not going to get into it. I just read it not long ago. Where he, I believe he says it's the ships of Tarshish. That they'll take their silver and their gold with them. But that's leaving of Babylon. Well, that means we're coming out with goods. I don't know how he's going to arrange this. But I'm starting to sense it, and I'm only just kind of just digging at the edge till more is revealed. So that's as far as I can go. But there's going to be plunder. We got to get out of here. How are we going to get out? Well, we got to have some form of transportation. Well, we're going to be finding it the further along this goes, because this is going to be a madhouse. There's going to be dead people everywhere, as in Amos 8. It's just the truth. We got to brace ourselves. Just go to the next chapter, right? I won't read it. Where it talks about, if you don't blow the trumpet, you don't watch, your blood is on your head. Well, I'm just trying to tell you, from what I see so far, what to expect and how bad it's going to be. You're going to have to look upon dead bodies. I'm just being brutally honest with you. I don't want to see it no more than you do. But you're going to see it. This is going to take place. And we got to take plunder. We have to get out of here. We got to get out somehow. And we got to be led through the chaos to even get out without being wiped out ourselves. Which is why we're going to have faith like Israel didn't have. We got to have the Joshua and Caleb type faith to get out and say we can overcome these giants. Yeah, talk about having to have faith when we need it. I got to go through this every day in poverty. I know. I've been there, done that. With all the world going to chaos, it won't be much of a change for me. But for most it will. They're living far too soft. They're not ready for it. They're not ready for the onslaught of what's getting ready to go down. And it's going to be severe. This is world-ending type stuff. It starts from somewhere. So let's go and find out. I'll turn right to it. Wow, isn't that something? Right smack on it. Daniel 8. This is the prophecy where the whole thing kicks off, because all the other prophecies revolve around U.S. and Iran going at it, and you have to throw Israel in there because we're doing their bidding, and they're going to bomb just the same. So it's all three, but it causes a chain of events, which is why I need to show you this. I know you've read these verses a million times, but let's see this. And Yahweh showed me this. I know. Try to go over this quickly of just how deep this is and how clear it should have been. And I don't have to read everything. Talks about the ram, the two horns. There's a shorter horn and there's a longer one. I was thinking there was two horns in the last days. That's not what it is. See, there's two horns on the ram, and there's also two kings. That's the part. What the angel is trying to do is show the parallel between Alexander the Great and the Medo-Persians and the U.S. and Iran and NATO and all that in the last days. Except Greece isn't a world power. It's not the country of Greece taking them out. He's showing you there are two horns. The shorter horn was Medo-Persia back then. The longer one that came up last is the Iranian regime now. That's what he's trying to tell us. There was the first part of it and the last. And later in this chapter, I don't need to read all these verses, but I'll quote them, Alexander Scurvy and all that for you. So, it says it is the king of Grecia. That's Alexander the Great. Where he says here, it was great horn was broken, and came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. The four generals back then. That's true. It's in the history books. That was the first part of it. But the goat is still here. It's not in the form of Alexander the Great per se. The goat is now in the form of Donald Trump. It says he was the king of Grecia, this great horn. But then, in the last days, it's a bit different. Now it's no longer Alexander the Great, because here in this verse, end of verse 19, he says, "For at the appointed time the end shall be." It's at the end, for many days. Where it shall be for many days. It was the last days. Now it's not Alexander the Great. Now he says it's the king of Pharaoh's countenance. Now Donald Trump. He's not Grecian that I know of. He doesn't have to be. It was Greece back then, but now the goat has a different form, if you will. But I'm telling you this, whoever it is that is going to destroy the ram, which is Iran, has to be the king of fierce countenance. Because the king of fierce countenance in the last days is the one that destroys the ram in the last days. Who's the only one? Who's doing it? Who's doing it? It's Donald Trump. He's the one going to do it. He has to be and is the king of fierce countenance. I didn't say he is the Antichrist. I don't see anywhere where it says this king of fierce countenance is the Antichrist anyway. He is an Antichrist because there are many. I want to get this image of the beast done to show what 1st and 2nd John is saying. He says, you've heard that Antichrist is coming, but then goes on, there are many Antichrists, of course, every pope was one. Gates, Fauci, all of them, they're all Antichrists, there's billions of them. Those who took the abomination, that's an Antichrist because they denied Messiah and took on the Vaca cow vaccine. They took on a different Messiah. They threw the son into the trash. I'm not getting that today, but Trump is the king of fierce countenance. Forget about Antichrist. Doesn't say that's who it is anyway. It's not important. He's the one that's doing this. This is extremely important. What's getting ready to happen. This whole chapter is about to be history lesson and no longer future. Possibly within days, weeks, months, I don't know. Right here. The rough goat is the king of Grecia. That's Alexander the Great. So, and the great horn between his eyes is the first king. He was the first one. Now Donald Trump is the last days version. You see. And who has been here since Alexander's time? The Persians. They're here again, Iran. They've always been around, haven't they? But now comes this great war that leads to many things. So I want you to see this with me, so we don't have to read the whole chapter. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. When he was strong, the great horn was broken. Okay, Alexander the Great, he was great, and he died, what, 32, 33 years old? But there's something here that I want you to see. What happens when we start having victory over Iran? That's the way I'm seeing it happening. Even though they're going to prevail over here for sure, you can count on it. Is the United States going to gloat? You know how Trump is. God bless America, and they're gloating. America's last patriotic fervor, right as we are seemingly taking care of business, and right then and there, smash! America's going to get smashed right as we're waxing great. Right here. So I want to show you this. I'm just trying to go over this as fast as I can here. I'll find it. Here it is. This is what I was looking for right here. He shall magnify himself in his heart. That's definitely Trump. But this is what I want you to see. At the time of this Iran war. And by peace shall destroy many. What exactly could that mean anyway? by peace shall destroy many. I've thought about this for years, and now I finally get it in light of what looks to be happening overseas. By peace destroying many. Well, we gotta get Iran. We gotta stop them from getting the nuclear weapons. Yeah. We gotta stop their nuclear program. Through peace shall destroy many. But when this happens, by destroying many, we can reword that, says, by destroying Iran to stop them from getting the nukes, he causes a chain of events to happen that destroys many. Through his taking Iran out in so-called peace, he's causing a chain of events, a domino effect, a snowball effect that destroys who knows how much and how fast and how long. Through peace, he's going to cause a chain of events that shall destroy many, in which the prophets are going over. That's what he's talking about. That's what he means by trying to take out Iran and their nuclear program. He will set in motion who knows what. Sooner or later, Russia and China has got to be involved. Shows right in Jeremiah chapter 50, they're coming out of the north country. They're coming here. They will land. They will invade. It's going to happen. Through peace, he shall destroy many. This prophecy has to be now. We are in the perfect scenario of peace and sudden destruction. Jeremiah 50, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut down and broken asunder? Thou wast taken and was not aware, for I have laid a snare for you. This is what we're looking at right now. America is not aware it's about to fall, except for those of us who have been watching. That's why it says, watch and pray always, that you may be, Luke 21:36, that you may be accounted, or is it 46? Well, that you may be able to stand before the Son of Man. We're looking right at it. This has to be the time. Right now, what we're standing in, this has got to be the hour. At least we all want it to be. See people in comment sections everywhere. They just want to just blow up. People are so miserable, they would probably rather just die and just get out of here. Talk about the full taste of Satan's world. Well, there's the fruits of his kingdom. We're waiting for the fruits of Yahweh's kingdom now. But it's not going to start till this hits full motion. When this is happening in warp speed, then your redemption draws extremely nigh. You're right on top of it. As soon as we travail, we're birthing forth Isaiah 66. But we have to be in travail, but that doesn't happen till it breaks loose. No other way. It's just the order of events. Everything to break loose, everything I'm seeing is in this chapter. And it goes with all the other prophets. They're all speaking of the same last days anyhow. Just each one has their own version. I mean, adding this one says that. It might word it a little different. We have got to read, comprehend it. Same last days. And it's the same three entities that starts it all off. And then whoever else jumps in, and it becomes a big worldwide mess. Which means I can see, could be wrong, but I'm just, from what I'm seeing, the U.S. is the first to go. Then the biggest refugee crisis ever seen happens. The second exodus is happening. We're heading over there somewhere. We'll see when that happens. Then the rest of the world is going to get it. It's not over yet. We still have to finish it. And there's still a whole lot to go down. And I don't know how long it'll take to wipe out the U.S. It could take up to a couple years. I don't know. It doesn't really say. I know it'll take a little while because there's so many things that has to happen. But it's going to happen. So that's my prayer. Let it be so. Let's get this show on the road. I don't know about you. I'm tired of it. I want out of here. Can't take no more of this. I'm going insane out here. I can't take it. I want out. So get prepared. You may have to hide yourself. It's not out of cowardice. It's out of being wise for a short time while everyone gets it out of their system and they're just blowing each other away. That's going to happen. It's going to be chaos in every which direction. You're not going to call 911 and the ambulance, fire truck, and the police show up. Most of them, if not all of them, is going to be wiped out. 911's not going to work no more. It's over. We're on our own. Talk about needing the Spirit to guide us and lead us. But that's my warning here. We have got to be prepared. It's got to be it. This eclipse has got prophecy written all over it. All over.